The topic for today is dying to belong. And for the very first time, I have in the studio with me today, Segun. I know a lot of people know him to be the tallest. Yes, the tallest. You're going to find out the secret or how he came about that name shortly. Yes, it will be helping us on today's topic. And I promise you one thing, today's topic and today's show is going to be informative and educative all through the show. So please, you do not want to miss this show for anything. And please help us share this video, because I believe it's going to help somebody today. It's going to set somebody free. It's going to encourage somebody. It's going to inform somebody today.
My name is Oluwasegun Ogunyemi, popularly known as Sege Tallest. By God's grace, I'm the founder of the movement against cultism and rehabilitation of renounced cultists. And given this great opportunity, I will want to speak without holding bounds, so that I'll be able to educate my viewers and pre-warn those who do not know what they intend to get into. Well, as the program goes on, you'll hear more from me.
Wow, I like that. Thank you very much for coming to bless us this afternoon. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I don't take people's time for granted at all. So can we know more about you? You know, you said something just from that short introduction that is so catching. What, was your growing up like?
Seriously, I am one of the privileged ones who actually grew up in a very God-fearing home. My late father, may so rest in perfect peace, was a clergyman. He was a disciplinarian.
Wow.
He actually brought us up in the fear of God and taught us a lot of things that should have been instrumental to making us perfect in our way, though we're created to being perfect. But then sometimes a lot of things go wrong, especially when you want to be too iron-fisted with your kids. You actually forget that they also want to experience a lot of things in life. If you don't give them the right opportunity to actually see the world, make mistakes and correct themselves, then they will actually get it wrong. Because in a situation where there is no mistakes in life, there will be no corrections. It is always advisable for us to adventure. Therefore, having given us the opportunity to be able to assess what we are getting into, and to be able to actually say, okay, is this what I want? Given my background and given what I've seen, is this what I actually want? But a situation where you don't have the opportunity to experience that from childhood, and when you are exposed to the outside world, as in university world, campus world, you want to explore every opportunity you have. And thereby you make a lot of mistakes. And
you make a wrong mistake. And that's why you ended up joining the gang. You grew up, from what you've just said, you grew up in a Christian home. You were shy, from what I gathered, and you're a very respectful child. And your father is a pastor, or was a pastor, But you ended up joining the secret cult in the university. What attracted you into it? What was the attraction?
First of all, I want to disabuse the minds of our viewers, because our society, the government and the fourth realm, the journalists and others, they actually gave what we were involved in different names to actually either confuse the people or make it more dreadful.
Okay.
If we look at the definition of the word cult, cult is a collective of people who come together due to similar ideology, having a particular person or a deity in mind as the person they worship. So if you want to look at a cult, that means you're looking at the church, you're looking at the mosque, you're looking at every gathering of people coming together for one main reason, either to worship a particular deity or because of their ideology. At the same time, both, it could be of the same reason. So when you say secret cult, it actually confuses people. We should look at it as gangsters, gangsterism. because that's the actual word it should be called. If we have to go into history, if we have to go into the foundation of this so-called gang as we have it now, when it was actually introduced in the university in 1952, it was introduced as a confraternity, as a collection of young, vibrant, intellectually conscious young men who came together to actually fight against the odds, the ills in the campus as it was at that time. From what we gathered, their aim was to fight against nepotism, favoritism, oppression. At that time, most of the people who were lecturers and who were the elites to be, or the elite, if we could say the elite, were the white folks. So you have to dress in a particular way to be able to go to the dining room. You have to be on tie. Definitely, these young men discover that it's not our culture to wear tie. So, due to all this, they formed the pirate confraternity to actually fight for their ideas.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was a group whose actual aim was not just fighting for what they believe in, but to also develop themselves, to make themselves better people. That's why if you look at the set of people who came out from that set between 1952 to 1976, you had great minds who have succeeded in different adventures in life today. But the story started getting ugly when the initial concept of the confraternity was defeated, because several people started coming into, from 3 they became 7, from 7 they started getting to 20 something. So within 20 years they actually derailed from the original concept.
Okay.
And that brought about internal rivalry.
Okay.
And if you look at the Nigerian society as it is, you see that internal rivalry is something that, if not cautioned, can go a long way to destroy a good foundation.
It can.
So because of that, in 1972, some group of young men, the likes of late Brady Kiru, decided to fall out of the pirate confraternity and start up their own organization. Okay. Having in mind that the purpose why they joined this confraternity at that time has been defeated. So they wanted to start up something they believe will actually stand for the original concept. So having a new organization coming out from the old organization gave birth to serious rivalry. And between 1972 to 1982, you had skirmishes, you have issues of either fights and little violence. But in 1982, between 1982 and 1985, it blew up into a full situation whereby they have to fight for supremacy and others. And that's how we got to the level that we are today.
Thank you for the breakdown. So now let's go back to the question, because the question was, as a pastor child, you go into university, you find yourself in that group. What attracted you into that group?
To be very candid with you, one of the things that actually attracted me to that group was when I got into campus, I felt the need for to belong to something, to belong to something that was different from what I had at home. The only thing I knew back home was church, lesson, and school. Now on campuses, I discovered they had other groups. You have Rotary Club, you have the Pirate Confraternity, you have the Buccaneers, you have other groups like that. But one of the things that actually attracted me to the association I belonged to at that time was because they told me a lot of things that actually caught my attention.
Like what?
Like, to be candid with you, it was all about how you portray yourself, how you dress, the kind of background you come from, how conscious you are academically, and most importantly, what are your future ambitions. Because in the early 90s, in the Buccaneering confraternity, which I was at that time, those are one of the yardstick to be a member. You have to be academically conscious, you have to be socially conscious, you have to have a vision.
So are you saying now that you went in for the right intentions?
Exactly.
Okay. you know, here on Beautiful Mind, we always advocate for young mentors in our higher institution, wherever you might find yourself, because I believe a lot of children are out there and they need mentors. So I know he said they sold it to him in a very good way, and he bought it because of the good things that he thought was in it. But we're going to hear the story as we progress. So please be a mentor to somebody wherever you might find yourself, whether in the higher institution and the church, to try to guide them, you know, in the way they should go. I believe, so you didn't go in there because from the beginning you said you were not able to express your real self at home.
Yeah.
So you didn't go in there because you had some issues from home, or you had some anger that had bottled up inside of you, and you needed an avenue to explore that.
Yeah, that was not actually it per se, but as a young man, looking at a young boy of 15, 16 at that time,
yeah,
you actually want to experience so many things. Yeah, like I wanted to know what it tasted like to have to drink a bottle of beer, which I couldn't at home. I wanted to know what people enjoy when they smoke cigarettes. I wanted to feel what people feel when they smoke cannabis.
Wow. Did you actually smoke all that?
Yes, I did all those when I did them, but thank God for God.
Okay, don't worry, we'll get to that stage.
Get out of it, you know.
Okay, yes. Seun Dipolo is saying, let the speaker clarify the home country he is referring to.
Yeah. By my name, or through my name, you know, I'm referring to Nigeria. And Nigeria is the only unique country where we have association on campuses called cultism. Everywhere in the world, you have confraternities. In the United States of America, you have confraternities. In the UK, you have confraternities. Other part of the world, what you have is confraternity. But our society, we always have a way of coining unique name for unique situation. Okay. So I'm proudly Nigerian, and I'm referring to cultism on Nigerian campuses, not just Nigerian campuses alone. Now they've gone deep into secondary schools. They've gone into the street. And it is a very dangerous...
Thank you for saying that. And we know that it's not just in Nigeria. We have gangs here as well. It's just that it's given another name, you know, but it's still gang. And because of what is going on our street, we are talking about this now. You know, according to statistics, now it's about 35 children that has been killed this year. So please, we need to talk about this, and you need to help us share this. We want to know the mind of the teenagers. We have got somebody here today. Last week, we had somebody that shared his experience, and today we want to talk about somebody here that has gone through it even before this time, that it has been in existence for a very long time. So how are we going to be able to stop this now? And that's where we're talking about this now. So you obviously, were you not open enough to your parents to be able to tell them, Mom, I want to, or Dad, I want to be able to try all these things. I want to be able to smoke cannabis. I want to know how it feels. I want to be able to drink. Were you not open enough to your parents to be able to share all this with them? Why do you have to wait until you get into the higher institution when you know your parents are not there, no guidance, and you're able to do that? Why?
To be frank with you, when you come out from the kind of home I came out from, it will be suicidal for you to want to discuss smoking cigarette or drinking alcohol, or even going as far as cannabis with my kind of dad. But then it wasn't as in actually waiting till I got into an institution before I could express it. If I had the opportunity to have other activities apart from sport, after school, yeah, like after school, it's lecture, after lecture is back home. If I had the opportunity to mix up with my parents, see what they are into, be an opportunity to check their mistakes, see what they are doing wrong, compare their standard in life to my standard in life, maybe I won't have been involved in gangsterism. Maybe I would have been involved in something that is more beautiful than what eventually I got from what I was into.
You were into.
Because initially in the 90s, what we have today is not what we had at that time. If I have to be very frank with you, in the 90s, confraternity, the rivalry in confraternity was about how you can prove yourself academically, how you portray yourself in the society. There are norms at that time that you must attain. Let me give you an example. In 1994, there was this particular course, financial accounting, that I scored 52. And there was another court member, another member of a gang or the confraternity at that time. Let me say, use the word confraternity, who we felt was not up to our class. That scored 68.
Wow.
Now, the number one at that time normally goes to the notice board to check results. And he discovered that I scored lower than somebody who is supposed to be lower than me. And I was seriously disciplined at that time for that.
Really?
Yeah, that's to be very frank with you. I was seriously disciplined. But when campuses got militarized by the military and a lot of things went wrong, everything became a different story. The scope of looking at academics and looking at the way you dress and all those kind of other things got lost in the wind because now it was all about survival.
Thank you. I just want to encourage our parents that let us be open to our children. Let us be accessible so that they'll be able to come and express their feelings or what they're thinking to us. Because probably if your parents were open enough for you to go through and say, Dad, I want to try cigarettes, probably would have told you, why do you want to smoke? You know, you have a dialogue about it, you talk about it, and probably would have been able to convince you not to, or give you reasons why you shouldn't, instead of you waiting until you get out of the house to smoke it. Right, Shun said, I think it's freedom from home, the first time syndrome. Thank you very much, Ma, for your comments. Right, Bakare said, why are you so different from others? Knowing you from home and as my mentor, you always attract young youth naturally. So why?
Thank you, Kumar. I'm very proud to see that you're actually responding to this program. Kama, you know me previously, you know me very well. I think we grew up in the same neighborhood, and you know that my upbringing and my belief was nobody is special. Nobody is more unique than the other. We are all equal before man and God. Some people who are mischievous, let me use the word we say, all are equal, but some are more equal than others. No, what makes you more equal than myself? Nothing. It's just the way you carry yourself. It's the way you portray yourself. So what made you see me as you saw me at that time, Kama, was because at that time I have started to discover that the culture and the confraternity I belong to, they've lost the concept on campus. Because on the national level, what was happening on campus is quite different. They've even denied us on campus. So what we're having was quite different. So I was trying to also see how I can mentor young men like yourself at that time to believe in themselves first. Because when you believe in yourself first, you cannot be influenced to become something that you are not.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kamal, for that question. Please, I really want you to help us share this video and send your views, your comments, your contribution in as well. Please, you can also give us a call here in the studios on 079-603-91983. You know what, Shegun, I have heard stories that new students go through a lot during cult initiation. Some drink blood, some enter into covenant with evil spirits, some have to beat up, you know, or be killed, or even have been asked to go and kill people. Did you do any of this?
As I told you, when I joined the confraternity at that time, it was more like a social thing.
Okay.
At that time, the confraternity I belonged to, others sees us as the butter people.
Okay.
You understand? Though we had to also go through the initiation process. And in the initiation process, definitely you have to go through a lot of rigors. You have to be beaten, you have to pay a particular amount of money. But it started getting to me when I started seeing in the media that blood covenant was actually involved in the process of initiation. you know, you cannot know what you don't know. And if you think you know what you don't know, then you cannot know. I have never experienced anything that has to do with blood covenant.
Okay.
I don't know what other confraternity does in their own ways. But I know for certain that, yes, there's a covenant to be made. And in the process of initiation, you have to make a covenant. And the covenant we made at that time, which because I am still in talks with some of these boys, and I know a lot of things going on, I discovered that the covenant is all about saying that if I do this and I do this and I do that, which is like, if I do anything discriminatory, if I do anything against a fellow human being, which I do not want people to do unto me, this is what's going to happen to me.
Wow.
The oath I swore when I joined confraternity is akin to what is in the Bible, is akin to whatsoever you desire others to do unto you, so likewise must you do unto them. That was why we had the slogan, no price, no pay, no foes, no friends. But at the later end of it, after 1995-96, when it became a do-or-die affair, things started getting very fetish.
Hold on, before you go there, you mentioned that you saw an oath.
Yeah.
Did you? I believe you're a child, or you're Christian.
Yeah.
Or you were raised
I was brought up to be a believer.
To be a believer.
Yes.
I won't say you were a Christian.
Yeah.
Did it not occur to you that you might have any spiritual implications?
Yes, at that time, you see, when you are going to get lost, no matter what you're being told, it would not stop you from getting lost, except you experience that you're lost. Then you'll be able to discover that you're lost. Because if you don't experience being lost, you won't even know in the first place that you're being lost.
Wow.
So at that time, I did not know that oath has
An implication.
Until after renunciation of the gang.
Don't worry, we will go to the renunciation. So just stop at the implication. She said, yes, we've got a caller. Hello? Hello, good afternoon, caller. Hello? Hello, good afternoon. What is your name and where are you calling from, please?
Yeah, I'm calling from France. My name is Chima.
What, can you reduce the volume of what you're using to listen to us, please, or move away from me?
Oh, okay, I'll take that.
Thank you. So what is your comment? Do you have a comment, Chima, or a question for my guest?
Yeah, I just want to talk to my brother, Tallest. We know him very well.
Chima Hisense, how are you?
I just remember, I just remember the night you guys came to your house to come and intro with you. That you are like the maturity to play that night. You show maturity. That's why I really appreciate.
Thank you very much.
Big brother to my wife. I just want to call to see what I'm talking about you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chima.
Thank you very much, Chima, for calling. Thank you all the way from France. Thank you very much. We do appreciate it. Continue watching and please help us share this video. Thank you. Bye for now. Right. So were you did you forget your Christian values? Because I believe, okay, you said you were not a Christian, but at least your parents must have instilled some things inside of you. Did you completely forget all the advice, or did you not go to Sunday school? Because parents, I believe you're watching and you take your children to Sunday schools and you believe that one of these days, wherever they are later in life, they will be able to remember all the things that their teachers have taught them, even if they've forgotten what their parents have taught you. Did you completely forget all of that?
No, I didn't forget the fundamentals of Christendom. Though, as I said, the word Christianity is far bigger than what we can comprehend. As a believer then, I believe that whatever you do that is contrary to the doctrine of Christ is a sin and makes you a candidate for hell. That was what that was what we had in mind. But then when you look at the way I describe what I joined at that time, at that time there was fear of God in the things we do. If I have to be frank with you, because if you are caught involved in rape, it's a great punishment. If you are caught involved in stealing, it's a great punishment.
Wow.
Now, even when I started smoking cannabis, it was a crime in my confraternity to be caught smoking cannabis.
Wow.
But you should know that in every society, you have how you dodge things. So it wasn't that those things were things I got into because I was in a gang. They were things that I caught along the way. And when it started becoming unbecoming, you will not be able to get out of it anymore until you discover or rediscover yourself.
Wow. You know, I just want parents, please help us share this video this afternoon, because you might have a young adult in the house at the university or college at the moment, or you can ask them to watch this now. Give them a call to come and join us now, because he will be sharing some things to us this afternoon. Please, and I believe it's going to help us in parenting our children, and for our children, our young adults as well, to understand the thing, the hidden thing, you know, the little dot behind this cult or gang that we're talking about. You know, Papi K. Davis said, once they get into the cult, they are deaf to whatsoever gospel that is preached around them. They forget about Sunday school as well. Thank you very much. Please help us share this video. We want to hear your comments or your views on this that we're discussing this afternoon. You know, when I interviewed you before this show, you said to me that you joined the gang to find oppression in the society. But honestly, students don't see cultism as freedom fighters. I don't see them as freedom fighters, but some people do. Do you think that joining a gang to fight for justice is the right thing to do?
Seriously speaking, joining a gang to fight oppression or to fight whatever you think you're fighting is building a castle. You're building a castle in the air. Because who are those oppressing you in the first place? Before anybody can oppress you, you are the one to oppress yourself first. If you don't feel a complex, if you don't feel you have this inability to attain a particular feast or to do a particular thing, that is when you'll be thinking about somebody oppressing you. Now look at myself, for example. I'm 6'4".
Very tall.
Yes, and by God's grace, I was involved in martial arts. I know a lot of things about how to defend yourself. So it would be difficult for somebody to look at me and say he wants to oppress me. But because of that timidity, because of that lack of self-awareness, because of that lack of self-esteem, I felt I needed a body behind myself to be able to express myself. Now, this is me. Other people have their own reasons for joining. Some people join because they want to have power. Some people join because they want to be seen as bigger than what they are. But in the real sense of it, if you're not big, you're not big. No matter who is telling you that if you come and do this and do that, you become bigger than this. No, no, no. Your size will not be bigger than what you are. Your thinking ability will not be better than what it is. You're just going to be a stooge to somebody else. And if you're not able to fight yourself, to bring out yourself from the ranks to become the man there, you're just going to be used also, because oppression, to be very frank with you, is still even in the confraternity or if it's caught in the gang. Yes, that is where you are being oppressed the most.
Wow, wow.
So
he's been there and is saying it, so please listen to him. You know, parents watching, I really want to watch, or even young adults watching, I want to ask you an honest question. Can you, or do you think that anything good can ever come out of cultism or gang? Do you?
Ironically, yes. Because I came out from cultism and I'm something good.
Because you have been done a new leaf.
I'm something good. And by the grace of God, there's a young man who seriously is actually an inspiration to me now. I was an inspiration to him. He looked up to me as an icon. He wanted to do what I was doing. He wanted to do a lot of things.
Wow.
And he also belonged to the confraternity I belonged to. Though when he joined, it was not a gang. And he went into a lot of things. He went to armed robbery. He went into drug abuse. He went into a lot of things, bunkering and others.
God.
But today, I'll mention his name because I'm proud of him. Today,
but is it okay
he's
for
doing
him?
wonder.
Is
Okay.
happy?
Yes. I've discussed with
okay.
him. I've discussed it with him before I came to this program.
Okay.
And I took his express permission to be able to mention him and mention the wonderful things God is doing through him in Nigeria today. Shola Ibrahim is a dynamic young man. He peradventure into cultism, into gangsterism, into everything. And when I started movement against cultism and rehabilitation of renounced cultists, he was among those who saw me as a traitor, who saw me as, what's the God doing? This is somebody we are looking up to, and this he has come, he's now preaching the gospel, he's now preaching about you coming out of cultism. But today, Shola, by the grace of God, is the founder of Crusade Against Campus Cultism and Violence. Shola is not just campaigning about the need for change. As I'm talking to you right now, by the grace of God, Shola has been able to bring over 2,000 Nigerian youths out of gangsterism, out of drug and substance abuses. And as we are talking to you right now, Shola is in the process of completing a care home to rehabilitate renounced cultists. And we are putting in place actions to actually train these young men. We are putting in place activities that will disabuse their mind from what they know and make them better people. We're bringing them into fashion designing, into furniture, into leather production. We are putting all those things into action.
Thank you very much. I thank you, Shola, if you're watching or you will come across this video. Thank you for the work that you're doing. These are the kind of news that we want to hear, that our youth are not lazy. They can actually do some work. Thank you very much for that. You know, you worked your way up. You were so close, you know, to the leadership post from what you've been talking. What was it like being at the top? And how did that impact your life for then and now?
You see, being at the top is a mindset. It's something that you think you are, because definitely if there's no followership, there's no leadership. You being opportune to lead people is not like something you should feel that, oh, I'm there.
I've
arrived. Because a lot of responsibilities are being vested in you.
So true.
And whatever you make as a mistake affect a lot of people. Now, most of the people who died on campus, or who are dying on the street today, or who are still going to die on campus, they're going to die because of the errors of the leaders. Now, I got to know the responsibility of a leader because I've always been in the corridor of power, as you say, and I discovered that the fact that a lot of people look up to you alone is a challenge. And what you say, because you are being looked as a demigod, what you say is law. Then on campus, not like it is in the outside world. Then on campus, what you say is like law. If you say go and hit, they're going to hit. If you say you sit down there, they're going to sit down there. Now, in my later days on campus, after some few months before the opportunity came for us to renounce, I started impacting positively on people, like what Chima said. Now, Chima, I sent a call from France. Yes, I got to the level in my, apart from campus, in my neighborhood. I grew up in Benin anyway, and later came back to settle in Oshodi, you know. And in Oshodi, you have the likes of the Bomboy, the Roma, and others. There was a time people came to my house to actually want to perpetrate violence. I had all the resources to be able to fight back. They use punches. I can get into my house and get whatever I need to defend myself. But then I looked at it that what is it going to what's it going to do to me if I do what I feel I can do? I'm looking for peace on campus. I can't get peace on campus. I am at home now. I can't get peace at home. If I go into violence here, what will become of me? Now, I never knew that Ascent was there observing what he just talked about. Going on? So for him to have mentioned it now after like 15 years, it means that my action at that time impacted him positively. Definitely.
So true. Thank you very much. So how did you manage to hide your double life away from your parents? Because these days, we parents, we claim and we believe we know our children. And this is just to help other parents as well, watching or listening via our radio station, you know, in order to know if they truly know or understand their kids. How were you able to hide a double life or live a double life?
Sincerely speaking, for you to be able to live a double life, that means your parents are not actually looking well enough.
Really?
Yes, because if they're looking well enough, they should be able to appreciate that there's something not right about this young man. For example, when I was smoking cannabis in their hand, and I was not just smoking cannabis in their hand, I was doing binge drinks, I was, if my father was, my late father, if he was curious enough, because he already knew I've made mistakes, because the reports were coming to him, he already knew I've made mistakes, he knew I was doing something that I shouldn't be doing, If he's taking notice, he will know that this guy comes home sometimes, his eyes are always very red. And immediately he comes home, he goes straight into his
bedroom
and
lock himself.
And he's gone. Yeah. And you see that he becomes reclosed, he keeps to himself more. Except
He's withdrawn.
Yeah, he does not actually
interact with the
family. And there are other sports. There are other sports that you can actually spot in your child. That, okay, this boy or this girl, this is not what he used to do. This is not how he was before he got into campus. And if you could, most importantly, become a friend, that's the word. Befriend your kids. Give them the opportunity to be able to talk to you. My dad, as I said, he was a wonderful dad. May his soul rest in peace.
Amen.
If I have listened to my dad, I wouldn't have lost 9 years of my life trying to graduate.
Wow, 9 years!
If I've listened to my dad, by now, either I will be a full-blown pastor, doing wonderfully well in the ministry, or I'll be doing wonderfully well in other affairs of life. It's not that I'm complaining that I'm not where I'm supposed to be now, but I would have achieved far more than what I've been able to achieve today. Because my dad actually wanted the best for me, but because his generation, the generational gap between his and mine is so wide, he cannot actually comprehend what was going on miss in my life. So now the world is a global place. You can actually monitor what your kids are actually doing. So the mistake I made, if you're careful enough, your kids will not actually make this mistake.
Thank you. I hope you were able to pick some things that he said. He said the signs are always there. You just need to be sensitive, to be wide observant enough for you to pick them. That you will always see the spots. If your child is on cannabis, smoking heavily, or drinking heavily, he said you will know. They will be withdrawn. They won't be talking to you that much. They will just be locking themselves in their room. Their eyes will constantly be red. The friends they anger with, their mouths, when they're speaking to you, they will speak with a lot of anger inside of them. That if you are sensitive enough or patient enough, you will be able to identify all these things. And he said something. He said there is a language of this generation. And I believe that's something we parents, we need to understand. The language of this generation is technology. Can you speak that language? How equipped are you using the technology? Or are you just leaving your children to be on the internet, on the social media, whenever they want? Please, we parents, we have a lot of job to do. We have a lot of work to do. Please. Thank you very much for listening to us this afternoon and watching us. Please do not keep this blessing to yourself alone. Help us share it. I always say, wherever beautiful mind cannot get to, you can get there. There are some walls that we cannot get to, but I believe you posting this on your walls, other people will share it and they will share it on their walls as well. Thank you very much. Your membership came to a dramatic end through an incident which was on the national TV and a major newspaper in Nigeria. Please, can you share this testimony with us?
Sincerely speaking, I always use the word sincerely speaking because I want to be as sincere as possible. Because I know that a lot of people will be watching this and a lot of people are still going to watch this after today.
Definitely.
And whatever I'm going to say, I want to be as sincere as possible. The signs of the need for change started in 1994. We're actually traveling to a neighboring campus to what word would I use to agitate and actually talk about the need for the commissioner of police at that time to explain why a student was killed. But unfortunately for us, we were arrested while we were traveling, and the police at that time decided to charge us for armed robbery because they believed that the only way they could get money out of these people is to charge them for a bigger crime. That is where I will also want to blame the society. That's where the society played a negative part a negative role in. So it came out in network news. We were accused of armed robbery. The police brought out ammunition that we've never seen before.
Oh my God.
Refrigerators, generators, and things that we are alleged to have stolen.
Wow.
Now, I've never had the cause to want to steal in my life before, and I've never stolen in my life before. We were detained for 45 days from November to January.
Wow.
But lucky enough for us, the magistrate at that time, Justice Titi Daibu, saw through what the police were saying, and she said to them that if you want to accuse these guys of anything, it shouldn't be armed robbery. Go and reframe adjust your charges, and But then being detained, I started seeing the need to cry to God.
Wow.
One of us who was detained with myself today is a pastor by God's grace, and is pastoring a very big church even here in the UK.
Wow. Before you go for that change period, it must have been really heartbreaking for your parent. Was your action, I believe everybody, we want to see our children on a national TV. We want to see them being a celebrity, not to be an hand robber, What was their reaction when they hear all this news?
When my dad heard, before that event, I've already left the school I was before to a new school. So my dad already knew that his son was a cultist. So he was not actually yes. But my dad being who he is, my dad is someone that if he says no,
is no.
Is no. No matter what you say. And it takes his time to say no or to say yes to everything. So at that time he has already lost hope in me being a productive child. He said, okay, I don't want to know anything about your academics, you're going to be on your own. So by that time I was on my own. That was 1994. I was actually sponsoring myself to school because even as stubborn as I was that time, I wanted to prove to my dad that I can go to school and graduate.
Wow.
But then when all those things started happening, my dad actually left me on my own. I won't use the word disown because he never asked me to stop using his name.
Calling him as a father.
Yeah, or anything that has to do with my
schooling.
Academics, sponsorship of any kind was not a thing he wanted to be involved in.
Wow. Please, if you happen to see your child, God forbid, we don't pray for such, but if it was you, what step will you take? What reaction will you do? What will your reaction be? I really want your honest opinion. Please let us hear your views or your comments by texting us or calling or even leaving a comment on your Facebook page, and we'll read it out. If you were to be the parent and you saw your child, let's assume this is your oldest son, being alleged to be in a cultism and in a gang, or that is being robbed or an armed robber, what will your reaction be? I really want to hear your view. Right. So do you think your parents really know what their children was capable of? Because these days, we parents, we see that, I know my child in and out, I know what my child can do, my child can never do this, I know is involved. We parents, we like to color things. We say, I know my child can do this, but he cannot do that.
Yeah.
Have you heard a parent saying that, vouching for their children?
Yeah.
Do you really and honestly think that when it comes to that kind of a thing, we see our child in that environment or in that area, do you really think we will still own up to say that is my child?
Most parents would not own up because they think or they want to show to the child and the world that they actually love the child. If your child has gone wrong, say to him that he has gone wrong, but say to him or her out of love, not out of disdain or hate or anger. Because I'll give that to my dad. My dad has never hiding his disgust for things that are not right. If I go out and maybe fight, because that's what I always get involved in, then maybe I go out and fight and bring the fight to my dad. You say that's what I've been saying about my son. He's like that. He will not defend you when you're wrong.
When you've done wrong.
Yeah. And he will make you understand that you're wrong. Though his tactics at that time, I felt was wrong. Because I was thinking that defend me outside. Bring me inside and correct. But then, sincerely speaking, that is the best approach. Because if you bring your child, if you get a report about your child now, and you think, oh, this report is actually what my son can do or my daughter can do, the best thing is for you to actually say it out of love that, oh, Ayo, Tunde or Fade or Jane, what you've done is an embarrassment to this family. You shouldn't be doing this. Yeah? And you take her or him in after publicly, lovingly reprimanding her or him. And you take him or her back into the house and you, through love, make that child see that by doing this and this and that, this is where you're going to end. If you allow yourself to go into this and this and that, that's where you're going to end. You don't bring shame to yourself alone when you do these kind of things. You bring shame to your family.
Thank you. I always say this to my children, that they are the ambassador of Christ wherever they find themselves, and they are not just, just to buttress what you say, and I always say this to them, they're not just representing themselves, wherever they are, they're representing themselves, they're representing us, they're representing God. So 3 people in one, that's who you are representing, as a teenager watching, as a young adult. Wherever you find yourself, please, always think that whatever you do there, you're not just bringing the shame to yourself, you're also bringing the shame to God and to your parents. So please, think twice before you do anything. Last week we had a young guy on the show called Tanaka. And the young guy said a lot of things. Please, viewers and listeners, if you've not seen our video, please go and watch it on YouTube and on Facebook as well. The young guy said that he made us to be aware of the consequences of quitting the gang. And you said, you're about saying you renounced the gang. Were you not thinking about the consequences before you're even thinking of quitting?
Well, as I said before, the first step in decision making is to first realize the need to make a decision. Yeah, I needed to actually reappraise myself. Look at where I'm coming from. Look at where I am, and look at where I want to go to. What is stopping me from becoming a better person? Because at that time, I knew a lot of things were going wrong that shouldn't be. How do I change? Now, the society did not give us an opportunity to change. Because if I've had the opportunity to renounce before that time that I renounced, I would have renounced, not because I was being pressured to. Because when you pressure somebody to do something that is not decided to, that person will not do it wholeheartedly. The person will do it because the person feels or wants to satisfy you. But I decided it was high time that I left this thing because it wasn't actually doing me any good. So I rediscovered myself.
Wow.
So as to be able to recover myself.
So how did you rediscover yourself? Because people watching here now, and they might be struggling with one thing or the other, and they are seeking for that rediscovering. How did you do that?
Self-realization, most importantly. As I said, you have to look at where you're coming from. You have to look at where you are. Now, these people that surround you, what is it that actually challenge you in their lifestyle? Are you proud to go home and tell your dad that I belong to the new black arts? Are you proud enough to go to your dad and say, I'm a member of the Air Confraternity? Are you proud? Will you be bold enough to go to your father and say, I'm a member of the Buccaneer or I'm a member of the Pirate? If you can't go to the police station to tell the police that you are a cultist, then why do you think you have a need to be there? So when you realize that this...
Whatsoever you're not bold
enough to be able to announce to the world that you're into, then you don't have the right to be there. So when I got to that stage in my life, I was in my final year, the second time of being in the final year. Because, as I said...
He's been in school for 9 years, 9 good years.
As I said, my being in school for 9 years is not because I do not have the intellectual ability to be able to pass my courses. I was doing wonderfully well with my but one problem, one fracas will lead to another, and one fracas will lead to another.
Oh my God.
And I always see myself leaving school. So I was tired of that sequence.
As a parent, if your child after being in university or college for 9 years, how will you react? How will you take it? I really want us to think deeply about these things. Don't think he's come here today just to say things, but he's coming here so that he can help others. They won't be able to fall into that same trap. Thank you. Please continue.
Yeah, so at that stage, I needed a redemption. Now, if you say you need a redemption or you want to run to church, seriously speaking, there's nothing church can do for you except what you've done for yourself. Because God made us in His perfect image. He made us as demigod. So if you have to make a decision, make the decision first. Then you now seek for help.
Thank you.
But when you don't make a decision, you cannot seek for help, because no matter what help you need, it cannot actually achieve anything.
Thank you.
So I decided to make a change, and when the opportunity came in 1999, when the then president of Nigeria, Chief Oluwasegun Ogunyemi, in his wisdom, after the massacre in Ife, decided that everybody should renounce, I genuinely came out to renounce gangsterism.
Wow. You came out publicly. You know, Tanaka, last week, the young guy that we had here in the studio, made us to understand that if you do that, you can get killed. Were you not thinking of that, such consequences?
To be very frank with you, I would not want to contradict Tanaka, but I cannot reckon or remember anybody among the over 300 or 400 people who renounced when I renounced that is dead today.
Thank God.
Yeah. You see, when you paint when you paint something to be scary, it becomes scary.
That's it.
Yeah. If you look at a beautiful woman now, she's beautiful because of the way she carries herself first. She's beautiful because of the way she dresses. She's beautiful because of the extra painting, like yourself now that
Thank you.
you adorn yourself with. But at the same time, a masquerade could be a woman. If you paint yourself to be scary, you become scary. If you paint yourself to be beautiful, you become beautiful. Depends on the angle you want to look at it from.
Thank you.
So,
you know what? I don't want you to talk over what you've just said about self-realization. I believe that is what a lot of our youth, our young teenagers are seeking for, is that self-realization. And I don't know what you might be into now or going through, and I just want you to know that you can find yourself, you can find your real self, and you can drop that life that you're living, that life that you're not boast or you're not proud to share publicly. You can renounce it. Do not be afraid. Don't think about when you leave it, such and such is going to happen to you. That is the lie of the devil. Please, you can get out of that life now. You know, because of our time, I really want us to be very fast. You know, Tanaka also said that, and you said it as well, that, you know, you were into drugs, into girls. Is that what our teenagers are longing for, or why they are dying to belong in the gang? Because of all these things?
Yeah, basically not because of drugs or girls. Because if you have self-confidence, as I said before, you can approach any girl. Yeah, and you don't need to be into drug to be able to express yourself. It is just a psychological defect. It's something that you think you need to boost yourself.
They need like a boost.
Yes.
A booster.
You must always, one most important thing you must always say to yourself is that, who am I?
So you think that people don't really understand the noun cultism or the noun gang before they get into it? Not yours.
Yeah, most people are lied to. So, okay, look at a situation whereby somebody was invited to a party. He never thought in his head that he was going for an initiation.
Wow.
And went with his friends for a party, and that night he was going to be initiated.
Oh my God.
And once he is initiated, because he does not know that he can come out, he remains there, and sometimes such people die. Yeah?
Why will he not know that he can come out?
Because the way, not just like, you're not told you're going for initiation, like in that young man situation. You are told that you're going for a party. Yeah. Now, somebody asked a very important question I want to address here. He said, you said the society did not help you to renounce earlier. How come you blame the society? Now, when the society calls a gang cultism, that name alone is frightful. Yeah. They have not given those who will be able to help you the opportunity to come to your aid. Now we have SU, Student Union, on campus. Yeah. Yeah. The student union, they're part of the society. The police, you have police on Mufti on campuses. Yeah. You have the DSS on campuses. You have the SSS on campuses. Now, these organizations, or these people who come from the governmental organization, they actually know who and who belongs to one court or the other. Or they know who and who belongs to one gang and the other. Now, instead of them to organize a program through which to sensitize these young men, they actually tip them to go at war against themselves, so that if there is war on campus, the authority will be able to dip their hand into the security vote to spend. Oh my Cultism now became a business. Like the renunciation that we were involved in, many people were paid to renounce. Is it not the society who also encouraged that? Oh my God. Everything in Nigeria now is a money venture. Everything is seen as a means to enrich yourself. Wow. Wow. Thank you. I hope he answered your question, that the person that sent that question. You know, Tallest, peer pressure is a very strong influence in our communities. Yeah. And it surely takes, you know, courage to resist or withstand it. How can the young adults stay focused despite the pressure? That's a very good question. First of all, as I've said before, every young man, or most parents, or our parents, let me use the word our parents, you should learn to inculcate self-esteem in your kids. Let them know their worth. I am who I am. I am marvelously created. I am destined to be great. I do not need to belong to one thing or the other to get to where I want to get to in life. Instead of me to be influenced by peer pressure, I should be the one influencing others. Wow. Wow. I could be the champion. You understand? But most time in life, if you don't have challenges, you will not be able to appreciate that you might be a champion, because you have to face challenges to discover that you can be a champion. If you are not tried, you cannot triumph. Yeah, if you are not tempted, you cannot have testimonies. For all you need to know is that I am who I am. I am a champion. Yeah. I could be a leader. Why should I be led? So how can our youth be courageous, you know, have that self-esteem and listen to their parents? Okay. Because these days, what I see in youth, what they see as being courageous is being rude, being arrogant, being stubborn, talking with their shoulder up to the parents. Yeah. Is that what it should be? That's not what it should be. It is because that is happening, one, because the parents from the foundation have not actually taught the child the need to be respectful. Are you sure about that? Yes, I'm very sure about that. Because I believe most parents always teach the children how to be, you know, respectful. I wanted to help me here, parents watching or listening. Do you think we do enough in teaching our children in respecting people? I said to you when I was talking. We've got a caller here. Hello, good afternoon, caller. Hello, good afternoon. What is your name and where are you calling from, please?
My name is John, and I'm calling from Liverpool.
Thank you very much, John, for calling us this afternoon. Do you have a question for my guest, or you have a contribution?
Yeah, I was thinking I was going to be able to talk and get myself online and just ask a question.
Pardon?
Hello?
You can't hear yourself at the same time. You can only ask the question and you can go back later to watch it.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so can you be fast about this, please?
Yeah, my question is, I wanted to just ask if the gentleman over there.
Yeah, what do you want to ask him?
It's gone off the line.
Sorry, you can try us again later.
Yeah. So as I was saying, I give an example of my dad. Yeah. Even as stubborn as I am at that time, yeah, I cannot look up to my dad and say some things. And there are things, if I've smoked cigarettes a few hours ago,
Yeah.
and I'm going home, I have to first get to my friend's house, or I've smoked cannabis or anything. I have to first get to my friend's house, brush my teeth, do everything necessary for him not to see it, because he has inculcated not just the fear of him in me, but the fear of God he has also inculcated in me.
In you.
But then, as I said before, you have to go through some things to know some things. If I've not made the mistake that I've made in life today, I won't be here telling you about what I'm telling you. So my journey in life was allowed because God actually wanted me to be able to tell others what to
Thank
say.
you. Agape said, teach them the way they should go, and they will, when they are old, they will not depart from it. I believe his parent taught him and instilled the values of the Bible, of the kingdom into his life, but he still went the way he wanted to. And Olu Funshaw says, Segun, good to hear from you. What role do you think a broken home plays in the life of their kids? How are they properly monitored? Thank you very much for that question. That was a good one.
Yeah, Funcha, how are you? Good for you to join us in this program. A broken home, as the word broken implies, is scattered. Now, if you have a scattered setting, what can you arrange? You can't arrange anything in a scattered setting. So if you have a broken home, then you should have a broken foundation for your kids. Because who is going to actually be responsible for the kid? The dad and the mom are not staying together. They have period when they see the kid. So who wants to mentor who? So one of the things you must always guide against is whatever the problem is in your home, for the sake of your children, do not allow yours to be called a broken home.
A broken home, thank you.
If the situation is that you don't have kids and you feel that one of you can kill yourself one day, if there's no kid in the setting, then if you want to go, you can go. But if you have children, please, for God's sake, put your children first, not your emotions.
Thank you very much for that, Segun. But I just want to add that for some reasons, you know, things happen, and we're not going to say that we're going to look away or shy away from it. People get broken up because of different reasons that we cannot start to mention them. One, the one partner might be abusive, might be suicidal, might need help with mental health. You know, a lot of things might be going on and will cause the home to be broken. But just because your home is broken or is tagged or is called a broken home does not mean you should see your family as a broken family. Even if it's just a woman in the house and the children, you invite God into that family and that home is not broken, is intact. If it's the man alone raising the kids, that home is not broken. You invite God into that home, is intact. What you need to do is with God, you can do all things and look for role models that can help your children, that can guide them. If it's a man that can mentor them, if it's a woman that can mentor them, that will play the role of a father or the role of a mother. But please, I always say this. You know, two people bring the child or a child into this world, but it takes the whole community, the whole village to raise that child. Don't be an island. Don't live alone and think you have to raise your children alone. Invite others. Invite people that you trust, like your pastors, we have good aunties in the church. We have good aunties in the family or good uncles that can mentor them, and you can welcome them in the life of your children, and they will be good. So please, we don't like to stigmatize things on Beautiful Mind. Just because one father or mother is not around does not mean that home is broken. Thank you very much for that. You know, we have to be very fast now. Do you believe in the word karma?
What is karma? That whatever you do, will come back
It will
to you.
come back to you. Do you believe in that? That
Well,
a man will sows whatsoever he reaps.
Yeah.
Do you believe in that?
I don't.
A man will reap whatsoever he sows. Do you believe in that?
That could be happening in the Old Testament.
In the Old Testament.
Because when grace came into play, when Jesus Christ came and died as a remission for our sins, he has killed the word karma.
Wow.
And he resurrected and gave us grace that our past should be our past and our present should be our present. I am of the school of thoughts that you cannot alter yesterday. Neither can you change what has happened yesterday. But you can use the mistake or the achievement of yesterday to use today as a prelude to a better tomorrow. So if karma is to be in place, that means if you've done something good yesterday, you'll be expecting something very, very good tomorrow. The best people in this world do not actually live old enough to enjoy what they've done. So, and the worst people are the ones in high places today. So we should not deceive ourselves by actually looking at the word karma, because God has given us an opportunity to claim into his glory through positive thinking and through Christ.
Thank you.
Because if you have Christ, you don't have positive thinking, it does not work.
Thank you very much. I want to hear from you. Do you believe in the word karma? And do you think whatsoever a man sows, he will reap later in life? Thank God that you have now renounced, this old. How was the conversion? How was it at the beginning when you told people, I am not in a gang, I'm not in cults anymore, I am now a changed person? Did they believe you?
Initially, it was difficult for people to actually see the change in me, because the renunciation process then in campus was actually a kangaroo setting. It's only a few of us that actually came out to renounce because we saw the need to renounce. But then people will want to watch you and say, okay, you said you renounced, what is your lifestyle? Yeah, the first thing they started discovering that Segun does not smoke anymore. Segun does not smoke Igbo anymore, because when I renounced, it took me like 4 years to be able to stop all those things. And seriously speaking, this is where I want to actually...
I love that. I love that you've just said now. Because people believe once you've given your life to Christ, you should stop all those things straight away.
It's not automatic.
Sometimes, for some people, it can happen like that. But some people, it takes time. Change is a process,
Let me say this emphatically. God is not a magician.
No, he's not.
God is a man of process. He's a man who has a way he does things. When I actually started thinking about how I wanted my life to be, how I wanted to be a shining example, not a dark example to the younger generation, I told myself I needed to stop a lot of things that I was doing. But it wasn't easy, because everybody around me then were doing it. So how do I fit in? Is it that I'm going to start making new friends? And for about 4 years I was struggling. And some people will not believe this, but I'll say it because it's very instructive. I have a friend who, by God's grace, is a wonderful man of God today.
Wow. All your friends are wonderful.
Yeah, a lot of them are doing wonderfully well in God's business. Now, he was one time a capon in Lasso.
Wow.
But when God called him, God gave him a prophetic gift. And he called me one day and said, Segun, God says if you have to progress, if you have to become better, you have to stop smoking. And I just looked at him and said, well, even that you got tell.
I'm still waiting for God to come and tell me.
Yeah. So one day I was in Abuja doing what I was doing, and I was actually in the process of molding my cannabis. Yeah. And my
cannabis
phone,
is called.
And my phone rang, and it was that same friend of mine.
Wow.
And he said, Segun, why are you being stubborn? Why are you delaying your progress? Have I not told you God said you should stop smoking Igbo?
Wow.
And I looked at him. In my head, I thought that because this guy knows now what they do by this time. You know, I was trying to get a reason to. But it dawned on me that.
How did you know?
How did he know I was actually doing this thing now? And I said to myself that, okay, after this one, I won't do it again. You know, that's how the devil works. You know, they always give you a reason to have a reason. You know, so I finished that one, and 2 days later, I became very restless. I became confused. Everything was like, so I told myself that I needed to go to church. You know, so I went to the MFM headquarters in Abuja, Utako, where I actually prayed and called God into my situation. And after leaving that church,
something happened. Something happened at that church. I really wanted to share briefly. Just briefly, because some people don't believe that when you belong to a gang, you are associated to a spirit. I really wanted to share briefly, just briefly, what happened at that church.
The church here, the one you're talking about, is the one that happened in the MFM headquarters itself in Lagos. In what's it called? Behind Lagos. Some of us were in church. We were looking for redemption and help from God, and the pastor was actually preaching about something that happened in Unilag in a particular period. And he said, while they were praying that particular vigil, a bed fell down and changed into a woman. Most people do not believe such things, but I'm telling you authoritatively that it happens. I will not want to go deep into it. I will not want to say a lot of things that I've seen in my life, in my short life here. But according to the pastor, the woman changed into a woman, and when they were the bed changed into a woman, and when they were asking her where she was coming from, what was her mission, she said she was coming from their coven, and she was going to the institution behind the church to fortify cultists who were actually preparing for a war. I'm telling you, before God and man, I'm not saying this to impress anybody. I knew what happened that year. I knew what the pastor was talking about, and it was not just me alone that knew it. We were like five of us that were there, and funnily enough, 3 among us belongs to 3 different organizations who knew what happened. So at that time, I knew that, so what I was thinking I was doing because I was rugged also have a deep spiritual implication. Connection. Because most of us at that time, not myself, I don't believe in fetish things, but I know that a lot of us will go and seek spiritual guidance to do 1 or 2 things, and thereby involving or invoking demonic powers in your meetings. Most of you might not be aware of that, but that is the truth. So please, young adults, you might be thinking you're just doing this because it's a phase in my life, it's gonna pass over, but spirit calls onto spirit. Please, all these things that you're saying, they're not just natural. They've got spiritual implications. You don't want to be older and some spirits coming to you to say they've come to take something that belongs to you, to them, from you. Please, we're sharing all these things, not to scare us, because when we believe when we're in Christ, we're a new creature. But at the same time, we should be mindful of what we get ourselves involved in. Now that you know, somebody said, is it Brahimo? He said, I remember I was among those that felt Tallest realization that was fake, because it took time for some of us to see the truth of it. So it must have took some time for people to see that genuineness in you. And again, if we're familiar with the Bible, you know, Apostle Paul as well, when he changed, it took time for people to really believe in him. When did you, as a person, start seeing that realization that I am a changed person? Seriously speaking, the commendation I started getting from people who are actually looking at me as this guy, because I will not lie to you, I have this image that was beyond, I have this image that was feared, I have this image that was respected. Some people respected me, some people feared me, some people did not even know how to define me. But when they actually started seeing that, oh, Tallest is no longer it's not I don't associate with everybody that is in a gang. I associate with them. I mix with them, because you cannot bring about change from outside. If you have to bring about change, you have to bring about change from inside. So what they started seeing that, this man is no longer doing some of these things, he's no longer smokes, he's no longer, and he's always going to churches to talk about cultism. He started going to radio stations to talk about cultism. He started organizing renunciation activities. I remember one in a particular institution whereby the CSO connived with some people to want to attack me, but the grace of God was beyond what I was able to comprehend, and at the end of it all, we came out victorious. But one thing I want to say, it's not an encouragement, but it's a matter of fact. You see, confraternity in Nigeria is what they have turned it to be now, gangsterism and violence, where people kill themselves. The politicians and others are actually sponsoring and aiding these boys to do a lot of hard work in the society. But if you come to the diaspora and you see confraternity, you want to belong to it. Wow.
Okay, we'll talk about that some other time. We've got a question here for you. Scholar Muba, he said, Brother Segun, thanks about grace, but then should we continue to sin that grace may abound? That camera question, please tell us about how gangsters look like their conscience is dead.
What you've not experienced, you cannot explain. So I will be able to talk from my own experience.
Okay.
Now, for once, I've never felt that my conscience was dead.
Was dead? Really?
For once.
Even when your cannabis and all that.
Yes, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this with all sincerity of purpose. Even those that knows me will say it. Yeah, if I'm high on cannabis or any other influence, like binging or anything, whatever you do at that time, I won't be provoked.
Really?
Yeah, that was me at that time. Because in my subconscious mind, I'll be looking at it that, okay, if I provoke now, people will say it's the influence of cannabis and alcohol. But I'll wait till I'm sober, and I'll go back to you and say, guy, that thing you did yesterday, come and explain it to me.
Wow.
You know, so people, you see the picture they paint about cultism, about gangsterism, about all those kind of things. Yeah, most of them are absurd, to be very candid with you. But at the same time, most of them are because you have some people who are agents of the devil. Whose aim, okay, most of them are not even on campus. Most of them don't have any reason to be in campus. They're just there to be able to loot, rape, destroy.
Oh my God.
So if you talk about those calibers of people, yes, it's understandable. And there's some cult group not cult group, because I would not want to use that word cult to describe them, gangsters, who believe that the only way to survive, to live, to become the dream, to become a reality of the dream, is to be vicious, to be violent, to be diabolic, to destroy. And you have some people who actually ask conscience, who are actually going to be, is this what I joined? Is this? And those are the kind of people that when they have the opportunity to renounce, they look at the 2,000 men that Shola Ibrahim was able to bring out of cultism. If they do not have the conscience, if they were not spoken the right word to at the right time, would they have come out of it? Anybody who has a dead conscience does not have the ability to reason correctly. So it is not right for you to say their conscience is dead. It will be right for you to say the right word have not been said into their consciousness.
Sometimes I will agree with you partly, because sometimes even the right word has been spoken, but they don't have the understanding at that moment to grasp it and to take it in and to make use of it. Because sometimes communication is in both ways. You communicate something to me and you might have said it in a perfect, brilliant way, but another is left for me to actually absorb what you've said, take it in, think about it, think that I need it, and think that it's going to be useful for me, that it is time. You know, there is something that we call time, season, and you believing in that person and in that thing as well. It takes a lot of things, and God saying, yes, that is a time for you as well. So thank you very much for that. Karma said that I can testify to. Got called back often for clarifications of my actions then, Mr. Discipline. Thank you very much for that comment. Right, let us fast forward because we are running late. Sorry, we're going to be taking about 5 minutes of your time. I promise it won't be more than 5 minutes. That means you have to be very fast. Now, you are about to get married. I know you're married. You got married. I wanted to summarize this in just 2 minutes. Now, did you have to tell your wife your past life, what you went through, what you've been, And how was it? Was she okay with it? And again, your what you've experienced, do you think, somebody was asking about the law of karma. Do you think any of your children will go through it? Or what are the things you're doing so that it won't happen to them? They won't have to fall into gang or gangster or cultism?
First of all, my wife is my life. My wife is the best thing to happen to me. And I've never had any reason to hide what I was from her. And to God be the glory, she wasn't interested in what I was. What she was interested in is, who are you?
Wow.
She took me for who I am, appreciating what I was the past. And she's been very instrumental to every success I've been able to attain.
Does she refer to it? Maybe when you're arguing or you're in a fight, does she bring your past to rub it on your face?
She has never for once. And I also say this with all humility and pride. Even my in-laws are aware of my past.
Wow.
Because I wouldn't want a situation whereby somebody will now say to them tomorrow that Segun was like this and was like, I said, we didn't know.
We didn't know.
Pretending. No, I don't pretend. Let me for who I am, not what I am. Then the issue of you asked a question again that I've forgotten.
Yeah, about your child. What are you doing?
My child will never make the mistake that I've made, because I will, from when I know he's able to understand, I'll telling him my own life story. Let me just deviate a little bit. There's a young man who was supposed to graduate at the age of 14, a brilliant, dynamic genius.
Wow.
Who was supposed to graduate at the age of 14 in Nigeria, one of our universities. I will not want to mention his name. He missed the opportunity to get into the Guinness Book of Records because of cultism.
Oh my God.
So tell me, if you speak the right word to your kids every time, right now, if I keep telling my kids about my experience, his experience, and other experiences, and he hears these words continuously, he will not want to make mistake. You talk about you saying the word. If you say to the person today, believe in Christ, becoming born again, and you end it there, that person is lost. But when there's continuation, when there's continuation, and you keep saying the same thing, repetition, it becomes a part of the person. And finally, I want to say this. I've said it before. I want to say it. I said, if you look at confraternity in the diaspora, compared to what you have in Nigeria, you'll be happy to be one here. Because I can tell you that these boys are doing a lot of things for the society here. I know of confraternities that are actually contributing positively to the society. They are involved in charity, they are involved in homeless people, they are involved in a lot of things.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Because of our time, we're rushing. I asked you that question because somebody might be watching now and might watch later, or might be listening to us by radio station. And you might be thinking you're going into a relationship and you don't want to disclose some of your past to your partner. That's why I've asked you that question. That please be open. Be open, be truthful.
Let her know you for who you are.
If he or she still wants to get ahead with you, they will get ahead with you and get involved with you and marry you for who you are. He said something, said that is in your past, and your past belongs to your past. As long as you can prove that that is not you anymore, you can prove who you are now, then the person should not have any excuse to turn you down. Thank you very much. So what effort are you making to help others or to encourage youth and about cultism now?
Yeah, to God be the glory. We are doing a lot to, I will not say I now, I'll say we, because by God's grace, it's not just me. We've got people in America, we've got people in Canada. Wow. I've just mentioned Shogai Ibrahim now. And we have other people in other areas who share our vision. What we're trying to do is to conscientize the youth, to sensitize them, to give them valued reorientation, to make them understand the intrigues and intricacies of gangsterism. Because if we say cultism, that means they shouldn't go to church. You have to look at these things for telling them the truth, talking the talk. Because when you don't talk the talk, they don't hear what they have to hear. And again, you should and must be truthful to yourself. Not just to yourself, to your partner. You raised something about the partner now.
Yeah.
I want to add a little addendum to it. A young man came to me some few years back, and he said the girl he has been dating for over 2 years, the girl actually confessed to him that she belonged to one of the female cult group on campus, and she was a prostitute. She was doing campus prostitution. And the guy was like pissed off that I'm not going to put down his life. I said, come.
But they're not married yet.
At that time,
Yeah,
they were just planning to get married. But she wanted to come clean.
She came,
and she came clean to him, and God that he said, no, I'm not going. I said, guy, count yourself to be lucky. If I was you, I would go to the church and give testimony that this girl actually came out clean, and I will love her the more, because as far as she has confessed it, that means it's not what she's going to go back to. So my final advice for you in that regard is take people for who they are, not what they wear. As I said initially in the earlier stage of this program, you cannot change yesterday. You cannot alter yesterday, but you can make your yesterday a prelude to a better tomorrow. See yourself for who you are. Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. Believe in yourself and know that if you decide to be good, you will be good, even if nobody was made good.
Thank you very much. We've come to the end of today's show, but I will want you to give us a final advice to our young ones out there that they are dying to belong in a gang just because of different reasons. Some people join for different reasons, and for whatsoever reasons they might want to join. I wanted to advise them, please.
The first thing I want you to look at as a young man is, as I said before, who am I? You are an investment of your parents. From conception, they start spending money to the day you're being born, to when you're being christened, from your kindergarten to primary school, from primary to secondary school, to college and to university. You are a huge investment, and your parents expect dividends. Wow. And what are the dividends that your parents expect from you? Good reports. My son graduated as a doctor yesterday. That's a good report. Now, the dividend also goes more to say, okay, my son who was a doctor or who is a doctor is now married and is also giving birth to children. Now, your investment to your own children is the same investment your dad or your mom has given to you. More so, look at it this way. God forbid, peradventure, you belong to a gang, or you start getting yourself involved in activities that will not go well for you, and by chance you lose your life. Do you know what your parents have lost? Do you know you can never be able to actually appreciate the damage you would have done to your parents? I've seen parents lost kids, not one, not two. I've been to funerals of young men who died due to activities of cultism, and it's not funny.
It's not.
Some parents, until they die, would never recover from that
grieving
shock. So, be good to yourself. Know that a lot of people are looking up to you. If you must belong to any association, look for a God-fearing association. I said something the last time I was on air. I talked about my church, the Redeemed Christian Church, Jubilee. And I tell you, men who belong to the youth association of the church, they come out in excellent forms. So if you need to belong to an association, go to your church.
Thank you.
Join the choir. Join the young men fellowship. Join whatever group that is there, that you will see people who will challenge you to become better.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for that. I do really appreciate your time. And I believe you've dropped some things to our viewers today that will help them. Thank you very much, viewers and listeners. I do really appreciate your time. I always say this every time. Without you, there wouldn't be beautiful, man. What can I say about this topic? You know, it's something that everybody has been crying up to God. And I hope you're doing the same thing. I hope you're crying. You're praying to God concerning our teenagers, they're the future of our tomorrow. And I'm going to start from our parents. Parents, please, you need to understand the language of this culture, of this children, of this youth now, because different generation have got different languages. Try to learn this language, the language of this generation, so that we can be able to communicate better to them, so that they can understand us. Show them love, show them respect, show them to be who you want them to be and what God wants them to be. Pray for them from womb, from conception. The very first time you realize you're pregnant, start praying for that seed. Intercede for them to be able to be who God wants them to be. And now to you youths, you are the future of our tomorrow. You've got potentials inside of you. Do not let anybody downgrade you or kill your self-esteem, telling you you want nothing because you do what billions of pins, your diamond, your gold, your treasures, and there's that treasures inside of you that the whole world is waiting for the manifestation. Please, you don't need to belong in a gang for you to belong, or for you to feel high, or for you to prove a point. So please, see yourself as God sees you. See yourself as leader. You know, if you lack confidence, look for mentors that can help you, that can channel you to the right things. You know, the Bible makes us to understand that the idle hands, the devil finds job for. If you think you have plenty of time in your hand, try to engage yourself in a lot of activities in the church or in the community that you know will benefit your tomorrow. Thank you very much for being part of today's show. I do say thank you to you. Thank you to everybody for your comments. I can't read all of them out, but thank you. I've seen them. And for callers, we had a caller from France and one from what was the other one? Yeah, from Liverpool. Thank you very much for your calls. I do really appreciate it. I want to say thank you to Someone Production for putting today's show together, and AY the ambassador. Thank you very much. That's my Ogada talk. I love you so much. Thank you very much. I do really appreciate you. Until next week, when I will be bringing another informative and educative topic your way. I remain your host, Adeyinka Adeomi. Bye for now.